Welcome on out to Lee Jordan Field here in Chugiak, Alaska. About to get started with today's game between the Anchorage Bucs and your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. I'm Lance Morris here bringing you the play-by-play coverage live on the Chinooks Radio Network. First one, Alan Trejo in there, called strike one, and we're underway. First pitch time of exactly 7 o'clock. On the mound today for the Chinooks, it'll be Robert Winslow, getting his first start of the summer. Here's the 0-1. Down low for ball one, 1-1 to Trejo. So far this summer, Winslow an 0-1 record in 10 1/3 innings pitched. The 1-1 will miss low for ball two, 2-1 now. Winslow even on the season in walks and strikeouts, 10 walks, 10 strikeouts. Has an ERA under 1 though. Here's the 2-1. That one's popped up right side. That'll get out of play, evens it up at 2-2. Two and two to the Bucs leadoff man Alan Trejo. Trejo hitting .262 on the summer. The 2-2. They'll leave that pitch down for ball 3. We'll count 3-2 to Trejo to start off this contest. Here's a 3-2. Anonymous down and away, ball 4. So Trejo will draw the walk to start off this one. So that'll put Trejo on first for Hunter Castles. Defensive alignment for your Chinooks. Mason Mallard in left, Zach Sanford in center with Hunter Vansaw in right. Winslow will check on Trejo, but will be back in time. In the infield for the Chinooks, Colin Borst at third, Aaron Shackelford at short. Will Bass at second, Ethan Whisker at first with Spencer Liniger behind the dish. First one to Castles, lined left side. That'll get out of play. Castles, the Bucs' second baseman for today. Here's the 0-1. On the ground towards first. Whisker will step on it for 1. And then we'll tag Trejo out for the other out. So a 3-6 double play. There's 2 down. Don't see that kind of double play too often. Two down top of the first. That'll bring Steven Sensley up to the plate for the Bucs. First pitch to him will miss outside for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. That'll miss outside, 2-0 to Sensley. Sensley hitting just under 400 on the summer. Here's the 2-0. That'll miss outside, ball 3. 3-0 count to Sensley. Here's a 3-0. In there called strike 1. 3-1 count to Sensley, the 6'1 sophomore from Louisiana, Lafayette. The 3-1. And that'll miss low, ball 4. So second walk today surrendered by Winslow. That'll bring Bryant Harris up to the dish with 2 down, top of the first. Here's the first pitch to Harris. Big swing and a miss for strike 1. Harris, a 6'3 freshman from the University of Tennessee. There's the cleanup man for the Bucs, hitting .310 on the summer. And Winslow will check on him, and Sensley, no chance. He'll be picked off over at first, and that'll end the top of the first. So Winslow walks a couple guys, but gets a 3-6 double play and picks off Sensley, and that'll be all we see in the top of the first. Bucs won't put anything on the board. Chinooks coming up to the bat for the first time here in a moment. Welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field here at Loretta French Park. About to start the bottom of the first inning between the Bucs and the Chinooks. Will Bass will get things started after him. It'll be Mason Mallard and Hunter Vansaw. First pitch to Bass will try the drag bunt. He'll miss for strike one. On the hill for the Bucs, Will Neely, 5'11" freshman from the University of Tennessee. This is his third start of the season. He's 1-0. Bass will pop that one up. We'll see if Riebenspees has room. And he does. That'll be out number one here in the bottom of the first. Mason Mallard now up, one down. Bottom of the first, 0-0 between the Bucs and the Chinooks. Here's the first pitch to Mallard. He'll foul that one off. Defensively for the Bucs, McCarthy Tatum in left, Bryant Harris in center with Steven Sensley in right. LJ Hatch at third, Alan Trejo at short. Go one to Mallard will miss inside. On the right side of the infield, Hunter Castles at second, Aaron Aruda at first, which had Riebenspees behind the dish. Here's the 1-1. That one's popped up right side. That'll get out of play. One and two count to Mason Mallard. Mallard originally from White House, Texas. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Couldn't lay off the high fastball. That'll be out number two in the bottom of the first. Hunter Vansaw comes up to the plate. 2 down, bottom of the first. First pitch to Vansaw. Lines that one nicely out towards right field. Sensley going back. He'll have to play that one off the wall. So Vansaw will stay at second with a stand-up double with 2 down in the bottom of the first. Tim Millard now up to the plate. 2 down, bottom of the first. Here's the first pitch from Millard. And they're called strike one. Millard hit the go-ahead 2-run home run yesterday to give the Chinooks the 4-3 lead. They never looked back from that lead yesterday against the Pilots in Anchorage. The 0-1 leaves that one alone upstairs. 1-1 count to Millard. Millard, a 6-foot redshirt sophomore, goes to Dallas Baptist University. Now the 1-1. I'll just foul that one back. So that'll make it 1-2 to Millard. Millard in the DH role today, played third yesterday. Here's the 1-2. On the ground towards third. That'll go foul. Millard staying alive with the 1-2 count. Millard with a couple athletic brothers. His brother Ryan was a pitcher at Dallas Baptist in the late 2000s. His other brother Paul played quarterback at West Virginia. I actually saw Tim sporting some West Virginia gear today. The 1-2 will miss inside. 2-2 now to Millard. Here's the 2-2. That'll miss upstairs. Full count. 3-2 now. Three and two count to Tim Millard. Hunter Vansaw on the second after his stand-up double. Here's a 3-2. Hit hard past Trejo at short. That'll be a base knock for Millard. They send home Vansaw. He's going to slide in safely. But they are able to double up Millard, trying to stretch out a single. But nonetheless, that will put the Chinooks up by a score of 1-0 here after one inning here at Lee Jordan Field. Stay tuned, folks. And welcome back here to the Loretta French Sports Complex here in Chugiak, Alaska. I'm Lance Morris. About to start the top of the second inning between the Anchorage Bucs and your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. The Chinooks just took a 1-0 lead over these Bucs off of an RBI single from Tim Millard. Now Brian Harris will lead things off for the Bucs. First pitch of him will be down in the turf for ball number 1. Harris was up in the last inning, but Sensei was picked off over at first during his at-bat. The 0-1 is going to be lined out of play. Harris, a 6'3" freshman from the University of Tennessee. Thought about it on the 1-1. They're going to say he did not go round. So that pitch will just end up being ball 2. Here's the 2-1. That one won't miss by much. 3-1. They're sitting 310 on the summer. Here's a 3-1. In there called strike 2. That'll make it a full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Brian Harris, the Bucs center fielder. Here's the 3-2. Hit on the ground towards short. Shackelford will field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first in time. Out number 1. Cody Reynolds now up to the plate for the Bucs. First one to him, he'll foul back. Reynolds hitting an even 300 on the summer. Here comes the 0-1. Breaking pitch in there called strike 2. Reynolds behind in the count. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Reynolds goes down on strikes. That'll be out number 2 here in the top of the second. Aaron Aruda now to the plate for the Bucs with 2 down. Top of the second, Chinooks up 1-0. First pitch to Aruda. Inside ball 1. Aruda getting the start at first base today. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. Evens it back up 1-1. Usually when we've seen Aruda in the lineup, he's played right field or been the designated hitter. The 1-1 is going to be fouled back for strike 2. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Aruda will go down and strike. Second straight strikeout for Winslow. That'll end the top half of the second. Bucs go down 1-2-3 after the top half of the second. Chinooks still have their 1-0 lead over the Bucs. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field. We're about to start the bottom of the second inning between the Bucs and the Chinooks. First pitch to Ethan Whisker outside, ball one. Chinooks have a 1-0 lead right now over the Bucs. Here's the 1-0. That one's hit hard out towards right field. Sensley going back, and he'll make that catch at the wall. Great play to rob Whisker of the extra bases. That'll be out number one. One down, bottom of the second. Zach Sanford up to the plate. For the first time this season, Sanford getting to start 2 days in a row. He'll hit that one on the ground right to Castles, makes a diving play, and he'll just get out Sanford by a step. So Sanford hit that ball hard right back up the middle. Hunter Castles just made a great defensive play to keep Sanford from being safe over first. That's out number two. Colin Borst up to the plate with two down. Here in the bottom of the second. First one to him in there called strike one. Borst getting a start at third base today for the Chinooks. Is the 0-1? That one's hit right between short and third. That'll be a base hit from Borst. Third straight Chinook to hit the ball hard somewhere. He's just the first one who happens to get on base in this half of the inning. Two down, bottom of the second. Chinooks up 1-0. Spencer Liniger up to the plate for the Chinooks. He's behind the plate today. Spencer, the switch hitter, batting lefty against the righty Neely. First pitch to him. Upstairs, ball one. Here's the 1-0. That one's poked out towards center field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Forced around second, head for third. And he'll be in there easily. So back-to-back singles from the Chinooks will put runners at first and third. With two down, and that'll bring Aaron Shackelford up to the plate. Reuben Spees makes his first and third call. Wouldn't think that the Chinooks put Liniger in motion, especially with two down. Now Shackelford steps up to the plate for the first time today. Comes in the bottom of the second with two down. Chinooks up 1-0 over the Bucs, and now Reuben Spees is going to go have a word with Neely on the mound. I should mention this is Neely's first time this summer not starting in Anchorage. Started one as a home game against the Pirates, the other an away game against the Pirates, and of course they share Mulcahy Stadium. Here's the first pitch to Shackelford. That'll be down and in ball one. Shackelford didn't start in yesterday's game, but got an at-bat later on and then came into play short. The 1-0. That'll be in there called strike one. Shackelford hitting 171 on the summer. 1 double, 2 triples. Here's the 1-1. Breaking pitch in there called strike 2. Shackford quickly finds himself in the 1-2 hole. Here's the 1-2. Fouls that one back. Also loses his bat. That one almost landed in the Bucs dugout, but not quite. And as you might expect, they will get him some pine tar, give him a better grip. Shackford will dig into that lefty batter's box. He's behind the count 1-2. Here's the 1-2. And that's hit past Trejo at short. That'll be a base knock. Borst able to score easily. That'll put the Chinooks up 2-0 over the Bucs. And that'll actually be the first RBI this summer for Shackelford. Now this will draw a meeting on the mound. We thank you for making us a part of your day. If you're just joining us, the Chinooks have a 2-0 lead over the Bucs. There's 2 down currently in the bottom of the second inning. Bucs have allowed the Chinooks to put a run on in each of the innings so far. So we're going back to the top of the order. Will Bass getting set in that left-handed batter's box. Bass flew out to the catcher his first time up today. Here's the first pitch to Bass. Inside, that'll get away from Rebenspies. So Linegar and Shackelford will each advance on the pass ball. So it's a 1-0 count to Bass. He'll call for time. Bass has runners at second and third with 2 down. Here's the 1-0. Breaking pitch in there. Called strike 1. Bass hitting .217 this summer. With 1 double, 1 triple, 1 home run, and 3 RBIs. That one's lined down the first base line. That's a fair ball. Linegar going to score easily, as does Shackelford. And Bass will stay at second, as that one apparently got out of play somehow. But that puts the Chinooks up 4-0 over the Bucs here in the bottom of the second. Chinooks up 4-0 here, bottom of the second. Double from Bass. Mason Mallard now steps up to the plate. First pitch to Mallard. Shows bunt. Pulls that one back for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. That'll miss a low ball, too. Mallard came in today hitting .272 on the summer. Here's the 2-0. Now it's hit on the ground hard towards third. Hatch able to grab it. He'll get that over to first in time for the final out of the inning, but that is not before the Chinooks put 3 up on the board in the bottom of the second, and after 2, Chinooks a score of 4-0 over the Anchorage Bucs. We'll be right back here from Chugiak. And welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field. We're at the top of the third inning between the Bucs and the Chinooks. McCarthy Tatum will watch strike one go right over the plate. Chinooks up by a score of 4-0 as we enter the top of the third. Tatum will break his bat. That one's grounded towards third. Borstel field it. Gets it over to Ethan Whisker at first in time for out number 1. LJ Hatch up to the plate with one down top of the third. Chinooks on top of the Bucs 4-0. First one to Hatch. In there, called strike one. Winslow definitely got into a bit of a groove in the second inning. He's kept that going so far here in the third. The 0-1. And they're called strike two. So quickly, Hatch down to the count 0-2. Here comes the 0-2. That one will miss outside, and then the turf 1-2. Hatch, the 6-foot junior from New Mexico State University, the 1-2. That one's in the ground towards second. Bass will field it. Gets it over to Whisker first in time, out number 2. Two down, top of the third. Chad Riebenspees coming up for the Bucs. First one to Riebenspees, and they're called strike one. Winslow's gotten a called strike one on all 3 batters so far in the third. The 0-1 will bounce in front of the turf, evens it back up 1-1. Riebenspees is a 6'2" junior. He's also from New Mexico State University. The 1-1, up and away at ball 2. Riebenspees hitting 133 on the summer with 1 RBI. The 2-1, big swing and a miss, evens it back up 2 balls, 2 strikes to Riebenspees. Here's the 2-2. Breaking pitch will get away from Winslow. That'll make it a full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 3-2. Ravens will foul that one back to stay alive at 3-2. Comes the 3-2. Anonymous down in the turf for ball 4. Third walk today given up by Winslow. Alan Trejo comes up to the plate for the second time today. Trejo walked his first time up, but then was out on the double play. First one to him will miss low for ball 1. Trejo, a 6'2" sophomore from San Diego State University. The one was going to miss inside. 2-0 to Trejo. The 2-0. Anonymous inside as well. 3-0. Now to Trejo. Here's a 3-0. And they're called strike 1. It's a 3-1 count to the shortstop, Trejo. The 3-1. Anonymous inside, ball 4. Fourth walk surrendered by Winslow. Second time he's walked Trejo today. And now I see Nick can't be walking to the bullpen. Wouldn't think Heath would throw today after starting yesterday, but I've seen weirder things happen. That's Chris back out there talking to Winslow, and Liniger Whisker will have a quick word with Winslow as well. And now no one got up and started to warm up as Campy just wanted to join his fellow pitchers over at the bullpen. Hunter Castles comes up to the plate. The Bucs have runners on first and second with 2 down top of the third. Chinooks up 4-0. First one to Castles will be fouled out of play. Castles hit into the 3-6 double play his first time up today. And Winslow will step off and look back the runners. Here's the 0-1. Down in the turf. Good stop there, evens it up at 1-1. Here's the 1-1. That one's hit out towards center field. Sanford going back. They'll have plenty of room to reel that one in for the final out here in the top of the third. So Winslow will walk too, but that won't matter. And after the top half of the third, Chinooks still on top of the Bucs by a score of 4-0. Welcome back out to Elite Jordan Field here in Chugiak, Alaska. Let's start the bottom of the third inning between your Chinooks and the Anchorage Bucs. Chinooks up by a score of 4-0. This one, Hunter Vansaw will be outside ball one. Vansaw hit a double his first time up, came around to score the first run of the game. The 1-0 down in the turf, 2-0. The 2-0. That one's launched just over the outstretched arm of Trejo at short. That'll be another base hit for Hunter Vansaw. Vansaw stays hot at the plate. He's 2 for 2 today. Also went 3 for 4 yesterday. And his out yesterday came in his first at bat, so he's now 5 for his last 5 at the plate. As Neely and Riebensby's having a word on the mound, as Neely has struggled today. His first start away from the friendly confines of Mulcahy Stadium. And before coming into today, Neely had a 1.64 ERA. That's going to shoot up here a little bit. Now Tim Millard up to the plate. Nobody down bottom of the third. First one to him in there called strike one. Millard had himself a single his first time up. That was the hit that allowed Vansaw to come in and score. He'll want to be down in the turf. 1-1 count to Tim Millard. Came into today hitting .321. The 1-1. One went outside. 2-1. Millard this past season at Dallas Baptist hit .257 in 50 total games. He only had 2 home runs in his entire collegiate season. He already has 2 home runs this summer with the Chinooks. The 2-1. And on the ground towards short, Trejo gets it over to second for 1 and back over to first in time for the 6-4-3 double play. So that'll make it 2 down bottom of the third. Nobody on for Ethan Whisker. Whisker flew out to right his first time up on a ball that was deeply hit. First one to him in there called strike one. Here's the 0-1. That one's popped out of play, puts Whisker in an 0-2 hole. Whisker leading the Chinooks in RBIs with 9. The 0-2. Breaking pitch will stay up 1-2 now. Whisker plays his ball at Hillsdale College in Hillsdale, Michigan. The 1-2. And that one's launched out towards left field, but right towards the glove of McCarthy Tatum. So another hard hit ball from Whisker will just be a fly out. That'll be all we see here in the bottom of the third. Chinooks don't add any runs on that time. They still maintain a 4-0 lead over the Anchorage Bucs. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field here in Chugiak, Alaska. Getting started with the top of the fourth inning between the Anchorage Bucs and your Chugiak Eagle River Chinooks. First pitch is Steven Sensley. In there called strike one. After Sensley, it'll be Bryant Harris and Cody Reynolds coming up to the plate for the Bucs. Yo, one. That'll just miss for ball one. Sensley walked his first time up and then was picked off over at first. 1-1 will miss up and away ball two. Here's the 2-1. That one's hit hard out towards center field. Sanford unable to get to that one in time. That'll drop in for a base hit. Sensley's around second, head for third. And if Shackelford hadn't already been turned around forcing the throw the third, he could have had a chance of picking off Sensley, but nevertheless, that'll be a double for Sensley. First hit of the game for the Bucs will come in the top of the fourth. Bryant Harris up to the plate for the second time today. Harris grounded out to short his first time up. First one to Harris. That'll miss inside for ball one. Harris has a runner in scoring position in Sensley. The 1-0. In there called strike one. Harris, a 6'3" freshman from the University of Tennessee. The 1-1. Swing and a miss. That'll make it 1-2. One and two count to Bryant Harris. The 1-2. Breaking pitch will stay upstairs, evens it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Harris. We do see someone up and throwing in the Chinook bullpen, at least for a little while. Looks like he's going to sit down now. Pretty sure it's Alex Masato out there. And Harris will go down swinging, couldn't lay off the high one. That'll be the third strikeout today for Winslow. That's out number 1 in the top of the fourth. So Cody Reynolds comes up to the plate with 1 down here in the top of the fourth. Chinooks up by a score of 4-0 on the Bucs. First pitch to Reynolds. And they're called strike one. Reynolds went down swinging his first time up. The 0-1. That'll miss a little low for ball one. Reynolds the DH today. He's 6'3" junior from Sacramento State. The 1-1. Down the ground towards third. That'll go foul. 1-2 count to Cody Reynolds. The 1-2. That one's hit out towards right field. And so going back, able to make the catch. Senzi will tag up from second over to third. Aaron Arruda will call it to the plate with 2 down here in the top of the 4th. Chinooks up on the Bucs 4-0, but they have a runner at third and Steven Sensley. First pitch to Arruda. Will miss for ball 1. The 1-0. On a miss inside. 2-0 now to Arruda. Arruda struck out swinging his first time up today. The 2-0. Swinging and missing that time is Arruda. The 2-1. Trickle down towards third. That'll go back towards the Chinook dugout. Count 2 balls, 2 strikes to Aaron Arruda. As Arruda quickly calls for time. Here's the 2-2. Hit on the ground right between short and third. That'll be a base hit. That'll bring in Sensley for the first run of the game for the Bucs. They still trail, though, 4-1.
Number 14, the left fielder, McCarthy Tatum.
Two down, top of the 4th. Bucs just put their first run of the game on the board. First one, McCarthy Tatum in there, called strike 1. Winslow will check on Arruda over at first. He'll be back in time. We have already seen Winslow pick off 1 runner today. He picked off Sensley back in the 1st. Here's the 0-1. That one's poked out of play. Tatum down in the count 0-2. Winslow will check on Arruda. Back in time. Tatum, like Arruda, a 6'3" sophomore from Fresno State. Here's the 0-2. That one's popped up right side. That one will land just out of play. So Tatum remains down in the count, no balls to 2 strikes. The 0-2. That one's hit hard right over the head of Shackelford. That'll get into left field for a base hit. Back-to-back signals from the Bucs will put runners at first and second for L.J. Hatch.
Number 2, the third baseman, L.J. Hatch.
Jose Hats comes up to the plate with 2 down. Here in the top of the 4th. Chinooks on top 4-1. First pitch to Hatch. Swinging and missing on that one in the turf. Runners unable to advance. Hatch grounded out to second his first time up. That one's grounded over towards second. Bass will field it and gets it over to first in time for out number 3. So that's not before the Bucs put one on the board. It's trailed though by a score of 4-1. Welcome back on out to Elite Jordan Field here in Chugiak, Alaska. Getting started with the bottom of the 4th inning between the Chinooks and the Bucs. First one to Sanford in there called strike 1. Sanford in his first at bat grounded out to second. One in there called strike 2. Sanford quickly down 0-2. Here's the 0-2. That'll be just outside 1-2. This is Sanford's first start of the summer in center field. When he has gotten the nod, he's been in right field primarily. And he'll be swinging and missing at that 1-2 pitch for a strike 3. That's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 4th. Colin Borst now up to the plate. 1 down, bottom of the 4th. Chinooks up 4-1. First pitch to Borst. And they're called strike 1. First time up, Borst singled, came around to score. Here's the 0-1. That'll miss inside 1-1. plays his ball at Hillsdale College, same as Ethan Whisker. 1-1 in there, called strike two. Forrest came in today hitting .261 this summer. Here's the 1-2. And he'll be swinging and missing at strike three. Forrest will suffer the same fate as Sanford. That'll make it 2 down, bottom of the fourth. Spencer Lineker up to the plate now. 2 down, bottom of the fourth. Chinooks up 4-1. First pitch to him in there, called strike one. Spencer, in his first time up, singled, came around to score as well. The 0-1, just outside, 1-1. Lineker was at the College of San Mateo this past spring. 1-1 is going to be lined out towards left field. And McCarthy Tatum able to pull that one for the final out of the bottom of the fourth. Chinooks go down in order, unable to add to their lead. And after four, they're still on top of the Bucs by a score of 4-1. Welcome back on out to Elite Jordan Field, about to start the top of the fifth inning between the Bucs and the Chinooks. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks, it'll be Alex Masato. The first pitch swinging to Reben Spees will be out there towards right. Vansaw unable to reel that one in. Vansaw, again, unable to reel that in. Reben Spees will be in there with a double to start off this top half of the fifth. That one was just out of the range of Vansaw out and right. So Reben Spees on with the double. That'll go back to the top of the order. Alan Trejo up to the plate. First one to Trejo. Upstairs for ball one. Trejo in his first two plate appearances drew walks both times. The 1-0. Swinging and missing at that one was Trejo. Evens it up 1-1. Trejo, a 6'2 sophomore from San Diego State. The 1-1. That'll catch the outside corner, called strike two. It's 1-2 count to Trejo. Here's the 1-2. Out of his outside. Evens it back up 2-2. Trejo came into today's game with a 262 average. The 2-2. Now it's hit just over the hands of Will Bass at second. That'll be a base hit from Trejo. Riebenspees will advance from second to third. So that'll put runners on the corners, nobody down. As Leonard makes his first and third call. Hunter Castle's now up to the plate. Nobody down top of the fifth. Chinooks up by a score of 4-1, but the Bucs are threatening. First one to Castle's popped up. That'll get out of play. Castle's 0 for 2 on the day. Hit into a double play and then flew out. Sato will check on Trejo at first. He'll be back in time. Sato originally from Long Island, New York. Played at Tyler Junior College along with Mason Mallard. Sato checks on Trejo once again. He'll be back in time. Here's the 0-1. In there, called strike two. Castle's quickly down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2. That one's launched out towards right field, but that'll go out of play. Castle's a 5'10 freshman from Louisiana Lafayette. Sato will check on Trejo at first and once again. We'll be back in plenty of time. Didn't have too much of a lead over there. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Castles goes down on strikes. First strikeout today from Masato. And the runners will stay put at first and third with one down. Brings up Steven Sensley to the plate. So Sensley up to the plate. Chinooks up 4-1. First one to Sensley. Outside corner called strike one. Then Sensley 1 for 1 on the day, had a double back in the fourth, drew a walk the time before that, but was then picked off in that first time on base. The 0-1. That one's popped up right side. And Will Bass will pull that one in for out number 2. And that as well will keep the runners at their bases. So runners remain on the corners for Bryant Harris.
Number 16, the center fielder, Ryan Harris.
Harris on the day 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. First one to Harris. And they're called strike 1. Harris, a 6'3" freshman from the University of Tennessee. Sato checks on Trejo again. Close play, but he'll be still back in time. Here's the 0-1. And they're called strike 2. Harris will quickly find himself down 0-2. Harris came into today's game hitting .310. Masato will check over first again on Trejo. He'll be back in time. So remains 0-2 to Harris. Here's the 0-2. That one's hit hard out towards right center field. It'll be Hunter Vansaw to bring that one in for the final out here in the top of the fifth. So Masato allows both Riebenspees and Trejo to get on with hits. They will both be stranded. Bucs unable to bring down the deficit anymore. They still trail by a score of 4-1 to your Chinooks. And welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field. We're about to start the bottom of the fifth inning between the Bucs and the Chinooks. Chinooks up by a score of 4-1. I'm Lance Morse here bringing you the play-by-play coverage right here on the Chinook Radio Network, courtesy of our Google YouTube Hangout. 9-1-2 hitters up for the Chinooks. Aaron Shackelford will start things off. Then it'll be Will Bass and Mason Mallard. One over to Shackelford. Will miss down low ball 2. Shackelford had an RBI single his first time up today. The 2-0 is going to miss low as well. 3-0. Here's a 3-0. That'll be in there, called strike 1. Here's a 3-1. That one's hit out towards right field. That'll drop in for another base hit. So Shackelford will get his second single of the day. He's 2 for 2. Nobody down. Bottom of the 5th. Chinooks up 4-1. We're back at the top of the order for Will Bass. Bass 1 for 2 on the day with a 2 RBI double. As Neely checks on Shackelford over at first, he'll be back in time. First pitch to Bass. Hit on the ground right back towards Neely. They go over to second for 1. But Bass will beat it out over at first. Shackelford's out at second. First, that'll make it 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. They'll check on Bass over at first. He'll be back in time. Mallard 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout and a ground out. First pitch to him. In the ground towards third. That'll go foul. Mallard played the last 2 seasons at Tyler Junior College. They'll check on Bass over at first. He'll be back in time. Well, does have 3 steals on the year, has been caught 1 time. The 0-1. That's hit right at the glove of Hatch. So that'll be the second out of the inning on the line drive out from Mallard. They tried to double up Bass, but he'll be back in time. And he'll, looks like that one actually got into the dugout. So the umpires are discussing on whether or not Bass should be allowed to stay at second. He'll be on base either way. It's just a matter of if he's at first or second. The umpires currently convening. We'll see what they rule here in a moment. I'm Lance Morris. Thank you for joining us here on the Chinook Radio Network. I actually say he gets to go to third base. Not entirely sure why again. So they actually allowed Bass to advance all the way over to third. Hunter Vansaw now up to the plate. First one to Vansaw. Miss inside ball one. Again, the Chinooks have a runner at third and Will Bass. The 1-0. That'll just miss outside ball two. And I'll hope to get some clarity on why they allowed Bass to get the third in between innings. The 2-0. Big swing and a miss from Vansaw. Vansaw played at Northeast Texas Community College this past season with fellow Chinook Brady Batten. Here's the 2-1. Thought about that one, but held up at that one in the turf. Here's a 3-1. Swing and a miss there from Vansaw makes it a full count, 3-2. Here's the 3-2. Not a miss inside for ball four. So actually the first walk Neely has given up today. Runners at first and third for Tim Millard. Two down, bottom of the fifth. Chinooks up 4-1. Millard on the day 1 for 2. Had an RBI single his first time up. First one to Millard. Ball 1. His ball at Dallas Baptist University. The 1-0. And that's hit in between short and third. That'll be another single from Millard. That'll bring in Bass to score. Puts the Chinooks up 5-1 over the Bucs.
Batting for your Chinooks, number 25, the first baseman, Ethan Whisker.
So Ethan Whisker up to the plate with 2 down. Bottom of the fifth. Chinooks up 5-1. First pitch to Whisker. Down the ground towards third. That'll go foul. Whisker 0 for 2 today with a couple of flyouts, but both of those balls were hit really hard. One was just really a line drive to left. The other one was right at the wall out and right. Here's the 0-1. That'll miss low ball 1. 1 count to the first baseman from Hillsdale College. The 1-1. That one's fouled right back. One and two count to Whisker. Looks like runners at first and second. It's 1 and 2 count to Whisker. Here's the 1-2. That'll get away from the catcher and allow each runner to advance. So now runners at second and third. Chinooks up by a score of 5-1. We just saw Ethan Whisker fly out. We'll be right back here in a moment. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field. First pitch to Coney Reynolds, inside ball 1. Here's the 1-0. How to miss upstairs 2-0 to Reynolds. Here's the 2-0. That'll miss upstairs as well. 3-0 now to Reynolds. Masato still on the hill for the Chinooks. Here's a 3-0. That'll miss inside ball 4. So Reynolds will draw the walk.
Number 7, the first baseman, Aaron Aruda.
Aaron Aruda now up to the plate. First one to Aruda in there called strike one. Here's the 0-1. That one's popped way up left side. And it'll be Mason Mallard to reel that one in for out number one.
Number 14, the left fielder, McCarthy Tatum.
McCarthy Tatum now up to the plate with one down top of the sixth. First one to Tatum, he'll foul back. Here's the 0-1. And they're called strike two. Tatum quickly down to the count 0-2. And Masada will step off. The 0-2. That one's lined foul. The 0-2. Down and in the turf, 1-2. The 1-2. Down the ground towards Masada. He'll get it over to Shackelford for one. Back over to Whisker first in time for the 1-6-3 double play. That'll end this top half of the sixth. So the Bucs unable to bring it any closer. Chinooks still up 5-1 after the top half of the sixth. Back on out here to Lee Jordan Field. Let's start the bottom of the sixth inning between the Chinooks and the Bucs. Chinooks up by a score of 5-1. I'm Lance Morris here, bringing you the play-by-play coverage on the Chinook Radio Network, courtesy of our Google YouTube Hangout page. This one is Zach Sanford, who'll hit that one down towards first. Almost misplayed, but just in time to get the out over at first.
Now batting for your Chinooks, number 9, the third baseman, Colin Forrest.
Colin Worst up to the plate for the Chinooks. Well, the first swing will foul that back. Here's the 0-1. And they're called strike 2. Oh, 0-2 count now. Colin Borst, the third baseman. Here's the 0-2. Just outside ball 1. Here's the 1-2. That'll get away from Riebenspees. It'll be ball 2. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss from Borst. And now he will officially be out after being tagged.
Now batting for the Chinooks, number 31, the catcher, Spencer Leninger.
Spencer Leninger now up to the plate. 2 down. Bottom of the 6th. Chinooks up 5-1. First one to Leninger. Lines that right back up middle. Castle's unable to get to it. That'll be a base hit for Spencer.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 8, the shortstop, Aaron Shackelford.
Aaron Shackford now up to the plate with 2 down. Bottom of the 6th for the Chinooks. Chinooks on top 5-1. First one to Shackelford. Down in the turf, ball 1. Shackelford 2 for 2 on the day with a couple singles. Also has an RBI with one of those singles. Here's the 1-0. That one will just miss low. Two and 0 to Shackelford, originally from San Diego, California. Here's the 2-0. Down in the turf, ball 3. Three-0 count to Shackelford. Here's a 3-0. And they're called strike 1. The 3-1. Swing in and miss. That'll make it a full count, 3-2. Shackelford came into today's game hitting 171 so far this summer. Here's the 3-2. That'll bounce in front of the plate for ball 4. Runners on first and second. 2 down, bottom of the 6th. Will Bass up to the plate once again. And Ravenspees will call time to go have a word with Sparling on the mound. Bass had himself a 2 RBI double back in the second. First one to Bass will be down low for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. It's hit on the ground towards second. Past the diving Castles. That'll be a base knock for Bass. And that'll allow Spencer Littiger to come around to score. That'll put the Chinooks up by a score of 6-1. So now runners at the corners, 2 down. Chinooks up 6-1. Now it'll be fouled back. Mason Mallard now out to the plate for the Chinooks. Mason having really his second off game in a row up to this point. He's 0 for 3 today. Finished 0 for 3 in yesterday's game, but did draw a walk. The 0-1. Down low for ball 1. 1-1 now to Mallard. Here's the 1-1. I'll miss it down low. Ball 2. Here's the 2-1. That one's lined right to Castles at second, and he'll pull that one in for the final out of this 6th inning. So Mallard, his last 2 times up, he hit the ball hard, just right at the gloves of the Bucs. And so after 6, the Chinooks tack on another run. They lead 6-1 over the Bucs after 6. First one, the hatch will come in and plunk him as we are back here at Lee Jordan Field.
Number 29, attention, Chad Regenstein.
Chad Rebensby is now up to the plate for the Bucs. Chinooks on top of the Bucs by a score of 6-1. We're in the top of the 7th inning. First one to Rebensby's outside ball 1. Alex Masato still on the hill for your Chinooks. This is his 3rd inning of relief. The 1-0. Outside 2. Back in the 5th. Drew a walk in the 3rd. Here's the 2-0. Upstairs ball 3. Here's the 3-0. And a miss outside for ball 4. So Masato will put the first 2 guys on here in the top of the 7th. This now looks like we're going to have someone getting loose in the Chinook bullpen. Alan Trejo back up to the plate. First pitch to him. And there, Day came in the 5th. His other 2 at-bats, he drew walks. Here's the 0-1. I'll catch the outside corner, called strike 2. Comes the 0-2 to Trejo. Outside ball 1. Trejo, 6'2" sophomore from San Diego State University. The 1-2. Found him way upstairs. Count once again is even. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Alan Trejo, the Bucs shortstop. Here's the 2-2. It's upstairs as well. Full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Trejo after Masato started out up on him 0-2. Here's the 3-2. Alano missed just high, ball 4. Second straight walk by Masato.
Number 3, the second baseman, Hunter Castles.
So that'll load up the bases for the Bucs. Brings up Hunter Castles to the plate. Castles over 3 on the day, grounded into a double play, flew out and struck out. First pitch to him. Lines that one out of play. Castles, 5'10" freshman from Louisiana Lafayette. Here's the 0-1. That one won't miss by too much. 1-1 now to Castles. Here's the 1-1. That'll miss low and in. 2-1. The 2-1. That'll miss low. 3-1. Now to Hunter Castles, the Bucs' second baseman. The 3-1. That'll catch that outside corner, called strike 2. Full count to Castles, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the 3-2. That one's popped way up right side. And Hunter Van Salt will reel that one in for the out. Very much needed out for the Chinooks with the bases loaded. One down, top of the 7th. Bases remain loaded for the Bucs. They have Steven Sensley, their number 3 hitter, up to the plate. First one to Sensley. Just outside, ball 1. Sensley 1 for 2 on the day. Drew a walk his first time up, but then hit a double back in the 4th. The 1-0. That one will miss inside. 2-0. Sensley, a 6'1 sophomore, just like Hunter Castles, he plays at Louisiana Lafayette. The 2-0. In there, called strike 1. So it's a 2-1 count to Sensley, the Bucs right fielder. Came into today's game hitting just under 400. The 2-1 right back up the middle. Bass unable to field it. That'll be a base hit. That'll bring in 1. But now they are finally realizing that Ravenspees is trying to score. He's caught in a rundown. He will finally be tagged out by Liniger. So Hatch did come in to score. So then Ravenspees got to third and then got caught in a rundown. He'll be thrown out. So Sensley on at first with the RBI single. Trejo now at third. So Bryant Harris up to the plate. Switch to Harris. Low and outside, ball 1. Harris on the day 0 for 3 with a ground out, strikeout, and a flyout. Saddle will check on Sensley over at first. Sensley has been picked off 1 time today, but that was by Robert Winslow, who started today's game for the Chinooks. Here's the 1-0. That'll miss just inside. 2 balls, no strikes to Bryant Harris. Here's the 2-0. Big swing and a miss. That'll be strike 1 to Harris. Harris, a 6'3" freshman, plays at the University of Tennessee. The 2-1. That'll miss just below the knees for ball 3. The 3-1 count to Harris. The 3-1. That one's hit hard just past Shackelford. That'll bring in Trejo to score. That'll make it 6-3 in favor still of the Chinooks. Now Coach Chris Beck gonna go have a word with Masato. And that will be it for Alex Masato. So we'll have a new pitcher coming into the game with 2 down here at the top of the 7th. Chinooks still on top by a score of 6-3. We'll be right back. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field. We're in the middle of the top of the 7th inning between the Chinooks and the Bucs. The Bucs have put 2 on the board here in the top of the 7th. They still trail 6-3 to your Chinooks. I'm Lance Morris, bringing you the play-by-play coverage right here on the Chinook Radio Network, courtesy of our Google YouTube Hangout. Nick Brooks, the new pitcher for your Chinooks. He's facing Cody Reynolds. That first pitch in will be outside ball 1. Here's the 1-0. Low one inside. 2-0 now to Cody Reynolds. Reynolds 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a flyout. Did draw a walk in the 6th. The 2-0. Hit on the ground towards short. Shackelford will field it. And that's a high throw, but Whisker able to tag Reynolds out at first base, and that'll do it for the top of the 7th. And so the Bucs add 2, but they still trail the Chinooks by a score of 6-3 here at Lee Jordan Field. Welcome back on out to Lee Jordan Field. About to get started with the bottom of the 7th inning between the Chinooks and the Bucs. Chinooks up by a score of 6-3. I'm Lance Morris here, providing you with play-by-play coverage on the Chinook Radio Network. The pitcher on the hill for the Bucs, that'll be Zach Reed. That first pitch to Van Sel will miss for ball 1. Here's the 1-0. That one's right down the pipe for a called strike 1. Van saw 2 for 2 on the day with a double and a single, also drew a walk. The 1-1. And that one's poked out towards left field. That one will be reeled in for out number 1.
Coming to the plate for your Chinooks, number 24, the designated hitter, Tim Millard.
First one to Tim Millard outside, ball 1. The 1-0. In there called strike 1. The 1-1 to Millard. Low and outside, ball 2. Millard 2 for 3 on the day with 2 singles, each of them RBI singles. And that one's launched out towards deep left field. Bye solo home run Tim Millard, his 3rd on the summer. Chinooks now out by a score of 7-3. First home run on the season for the Chinooks here at Lee Jordan Field. Ethan Whisker now comes up with one down, bottom of the seventh. First one hit him miss outside and low for ball one. The 1-0. Now it's hit right side. That'll get out of play foul. Whisker 0 for 3 today with 3 flyouts. The 1-1. Breaking pitch. Didn't miss by too much. Ball 2. Here's the 2-1. That'll miss just inside. 3 balls, 1 strike to Whisker. The 3-1. And that one's hit nicely. Right field. Sensley on the move. And he'll go back to get to that one in time. So the bad luck for Whisker continues at the plate as he's hit the ball hard every time. Just happens to land in one of those outfielders' gloves. Two down, bottom of the 7th. Zach Sanford up to the plate for the Chinooks. First one is Sanford. That'll miss inside, almost hit him. The 1-0. Catches the outside corner, called strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike count to Sanford. Plays at Glenville State College in Glenville, West Virginia. The 1-1. Breaking pitch just softly hit back to Reed. And he'll get that one over to first in time for the final out here in the bottom of the 7th. But that is not before a big solo home run comes off the bat of Tim Millar in his 3rd of the summer. Puts the Chinooks up by a score of 7-3 after 7 innings here at Lee Jordan Field. And welcome back on out here to Lee Jordan Field. We're in the 8th inning. Chinooks up 7-3. First pitch will be outside for ball 1. Cole Maltese up to the plate. The 1-0. This is inside 2-0. In there, called strike 1. Here's the 2-1. That one's poked out towards center field. That'll drop in. Bass unable to get to that one. That'll be a hit for Maltese.
Number 14, the left fielder, McCarthy Tatum.
McCarthy Tatum now up to the plate. Nobody down. Top of the 8th. I'll check on Maltese over first. We'll be back in time. Tatum 1 for 3 on the day. Had a hit back in the 4th inning. First one to Tatum will be upstairs, ball 1. Here's the 1-0. That one's popped way up right side of the infield. Ethan Whisker will be the one to pull that one in for the out.
Number 2, the third baseman, L.J. Hatch.
I'm bringing LJ Hatch up to the plate. One down, top of the 8th. Chinooks on top, 7-3. First one to Hatch. Foul tips that one off for strike 1. The 0-1. Big swing and a miss there from Hatch. He'll fall behind 0-2. The 0-2. Just outside to Hatch, 1-2. Here's the 1-2. That one's poked out towards right field. That'll drop in for a base hit. Set up with runners at first and second for one with one down. Chad Rebenspies.
The catcher, Chad Reedenspeed.
So that one flew out to Mason Mallard. I apologize. I had to cough and forgot to put the mic back on. First one to Alan Trejo in there, called strike one. Trejo 1-for-1 on the day. His single came back in the fifth. His other 3 times he has drawn a walk. The 0-1. Out of this down in the turf, 1-1. Trejo, the shortstop from San Diego State University. Here's the 1-1. Out of miss just a tad outside. Spencer now wants to go have a quick chat with Nick. Two and one the count. Alan Trejo, the Bucs shortstop. 2 down, top of the eighth. Chinooks up by a score of 7-3. The 2-1. On the ground towards third. That'll go foul. That'll even it up 2 balls, 2 strikes to Trejo. The 2-2. Breaking pitch fouled off by Trejo to stay alive at 2-2. Here's the 2-2. Down into the turf, makes it a full count, 3-2. Here's the 3-2. Hit on the ground. Brooks unable to field it. Shackelford will. And he'll get that over to Whisker first in time for out number 3. So Maltese and Hatch get on with hits, but they are both stranded after the top half of the eighth. Chinooks remain on top of the Bucs by a score of 7-3. Colin Borst up to the plate to start things off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. New pitcher on the hill for the Bucs, Daniel Bees. First one in there called strike one. Bees 6'8" from Gonzaga. He's a sophomore. The one in there also for a called strike two. The 0-2. That one down in the turf gets away from Riebenspees. One ball, two strike count to Borst. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Had a single back in the second, has struck out the other 2 times. And he'll go down for a third time, this time looking. That'll be the first out here in the bottom of the 8th. That'll bring up Spencer Liniger to the plate.
At the plate for your Chinooks, number 31, the catcher, Spencer Leininger.
All the pitchers today have been righties for the Bucs. That means Liniger has been batting left all the times he's came to the plate today. First one in, will miss outside, ball 1. Here's the 1-0. Big swing and a miss. Bees definitely possesses a tough fastball. 1-1 count to Spencer. Here's the 1-1. Outside, ball 2. Two balls, 1 strike. Here's the 2-1. Big swing and a miss as well as that. I'll even it back up 2-2. Spencer came into today's game hitting .214. He's got a couple base hits today. Here's the 2-2. Outside, ball 3. Three and two full count. Here's a 3-2. Swing and a miss. Spencer will go down on strike, second straight strikeout for Bees. 2 down, bottom of the 8th. That'll bring Aaron Shackelford up to the plate. Shackelford 2 for 2 on the day. Couple singles, one of them an RBI single. Also has drawn a walk. First one to Shackelford. And they're called strike 1. Here's the 0-1. Outside, ball 1. Shackelford came into today's game hitting 171. Here's the 1-1. Thought about that pitch in the turf, but is able to hold up. Here's the 2-1. And that's hit hard right on the left side, but that'll go foul. 2-2 count now to Shackelford. Here's the 2-2. Out of miss low ball 3-2 now to Shackelford. Second straight full count. Here's the 3-2. Got him looking called strike 3. So Bees will strike out the side. That'll do it here for the bottom of the 8th. But as we go to the top of the 9th, Chinooks remain on top by a score of 7-3. Welcome back out to Lee Jordan Field here at the Lorena French Sports Complex. Let's start the top of the 9th inning between the Chinooks and the Anchorage Bucs. Chinooks up by a score of 7-3. New pitcher on the hill for the Chinooks, it'll be Preston White. White also came in to finish off yesterday's game. He got the save in that one. Not a save situation right now for Preston. First pitch to Hunter Castles. He'll be swinging and missing for strike 1. Won't be an easy task for White. Has to face the middle of this Bucs lineup after Castles. It'll be Steven Sensley and Bryant Harris. Here's the 0-1. That's hit. Bass will somehow be able to get to that one. Does his best Derek Jeter imitation from second base. That'll be out number 1 here in the top of the 9th. Sensley with first pitch swinging. He'll pop that one up and out of play. So Sensley's behind 0-1. Here's the 0-1. Just outside ball 1. Sensley 2 for 3 on the day with a single and a double. The 1-1. Just outside again, 2-1. Sensley came into today's game as the leading hitter for the Bucs, hitting at a .393 clip. Here's the 2-1. Just outside ball 3. 3-1 now to Sensley, the Bucs right fielder. Sophomore from Louisiana Lafayette. The 3-1. Swing and a miss. Full count now, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Sensley. Here's the 3-2. Got him looking, called strike 3. Sensley cannot believe it, but he'll be the second out here in the top of the 9th. Two down, top of the 9th. Bryant Harris coming up to the plate for the Bucs. First one to Harris. They'll foul that one back. Harris 1 for 4 on the day. His single came back in the 7th inning. Here's the 0-1. Outside and low, ball 1. 1-1 count to Harris, the 6'3" freshman from Tennessee. Here's the 1-1. Harris thought about that one, but he'll hold up, but it's in there called strike 2. One ball, 2 strikes to Bryant Harris. Here's the 1-2. That'll break out of the zone, evens it back up, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2. That'll miss inside, ball 3. Full count, 3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down here in the top of the 9th. Chinooks looking to shut the door on this one. The 3-2. That'll be down in the turf, ball 4. Harris will draw the walk on White. That brings Cody Reynolds up to the plate. First one to Reynolds. Upstairs, ball 1. Reynolds 0 for 3 on the day with a strikeout, a flyout, and a ground out, but did draw a walk. That was back in the 6th. The 1-0. That one's hit out left side. How to get out of play. One count to Cody Reynolds, the 6'3" junior from Sacramento State. The 1-1. Just inside, 2-1. Reynolds came into today's game hitting at 300 on the summer. The 2-1. That one's another ground towards Shackelford. He fumbles with it. Does not have enough time. So that'll be an error on Shackelford to keep this game alive. Runners at first and second, 2 down. Cole Maltese up to the plate for the Bucs. First one to Maltese. Swing and a miss for strike one. Maltese had one at bat earlier in the game where he got a hit. He came in to replace Aaron Aruda. The 0-1 will miss low. Here comes the 1-1. That'll just miss low. 2-1. Here's the 2-1. That one's launched out towards right field. And it'll have to come in, but Vansaw able to pull that one in for the final out of this one. Chinooks will come out on top by a score of 7-3 over the Anchorage Bucs. So now this leaves me in the spot where I have to pick another player of the game. This is the first time this year I will mention that the Chinooks have won 2 in a row. If they win one tomorrow, it's called a winning streak. So a couple guys up there for player of the game. Like what Masato did out of the pen. But he did allow 2 to come in before Nick had to come in and relieve him. Will had 3 RBIs. He was 2 for 4. Hunter was 2 for 3, while Tim was 3 for 4. And Tim brought in a run with every time he got a hit. So I think I'm going to have to go with Tim for the second time this year. Probably could have went with him yesterday as well, honestly. But nonetheless, this will be Tim Millard's second player of the game interview. First time we'll have a win here at Lee Jordan Field, as we had all our wins up in Anchorage before. So again, Tim Millard will be our player of the game. So stay tuned for that interview. We'll have that as soon as the team breaks out of their huddle with head coach John Groth. We'll be right back here on the Chinooks Radio Network. All right, thank you for sticking around, Chinook fans. I'm here for the second time this season with Tim Millard. Tim, 3 for 4 today. Had another good day at the plate. What was working for you?
I just felt like I was putting good swings on the ball, and a couple of them found some holes early, and then I was able to get under that one at the end and get it out of here.
Okay, I think that's exactly what you said verbatim, aside from I got one out of here in the first interview. So I'm going to push you a little more. What exactly was working up there, and especially in that first at bat when you were able to bring Hunter in?
Yeah, I was just looking for a fastball in the zone, and saw a couple pitches out, got ahead in the count, and then finally got that fastball in the zone, put a good swing on it.
And we don't need to ask about the double play because things happen. People get
Yeah,
into double plays
let's
all the
forget
time.
about that.
But then you were able to have another single with an RBI. But then I got to ask about the home run in the seventh. I knew that ball was gone the second it hit your bat. Did you know that ball was gone the second it hit your bat?
Yeah, I knew it was gone, but I didn't want to do anything too flashy, so I just ran hard. But
So how much of a difference is it being here versus it being at Dallas Baptist? Because at Dallas Baptist, you only had 2 home runs the entire season. We're here, you already have 3. So what's been different here as opposed to when you were at DBU?
yeah, here I've just tried to get under the ball. That was one thing, my coaches back at DBU tried to tell me before I left was, you hit a ton of ground balls this year, like close to 80%, I think. And they're like, you hit them a lot of them hard, but if you can just work on getting underneath the ball and driving it here so we can hopefully up those power numbers. So hopefully see that next year and hopefully continue throughout the summer.
So now, aside from baseball, I've learned a little bit about you, being one of the Texas boys, as we call you on the
Oh,
team.
yeah.
But you like the New York Giants and not the Cowboys. Can you please explain that to me and all the fans at home?
Oh, I am the biggest Texas fan out there. It's the greatest state in the world. Let me just put that out there first.
Here we
But
go.
I grew up a Giants fan because my dad went to Penn State, and Kerry Collins was the quarterback of the Giants back then. So, grew up a Giants fan. My family's from Pennsylvania, so just grew up loving them, and they always beat the Cowboys. So it's always fun to rub it in the home fans, and everyone knows how arrogant Texans are. So it's always good to rub one in their faces. But still the greatest state in the world, by the way. But
And we'll end on that note. I don't have any other follow-ups that'll get me punched or something like that. Tim, thanks for coming up here again.
yep, no problem.
And that's all we have on the Chinook Radio Network. We'll be right back here tomorrow against the Oilers. So stay tuned for that one here on the Radio Network.